Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Amy and this is Harpy Stitch and this is a Flosstube extra. I'm not even really sure what to call this. I'm going to try to get through this without crying. I don't know if I'll be successful. I am posting this because I am doing a fundraiser for local families. Feral User? Yes, Feral User on Reddit created an image. He called it the Rebel Loon. And there have been several versions of this since I saw it. A friend of mine made it their profile picture on Facebook. And I immediately made it mine as well. Because it's been a rough couple of weeks in Minnesota. Sorry, I should have done this before, but I am not thinking clearly. And, oh, there's what I want. Okay. Where is it? I know I put it, oh, I know where it is. I'm looking at the wrong spot. Sorry, it is early in the morning. I just finished filming my Flosstube. As I said, things are a bit crazy here in Minnesota. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, again, I'm sorry. I'm not thinking straight. And yeah, there we go. That will be helpful. I had to get to the right thing. So, I had to remember where it was. So this is the image. He took the Rebel Alliance symbol and put the loon, which is the state bird of Minnesota, into it. I like the simplicity of this one. There's another version that looks almost like this but has a North Star. There's some other ones that are more fancy. So I took this and I put it in Wind Stitch, my very first pattern in Wind Stitch, and I turned it into a pattern. I've put it up on my Ko-fi, or my coffee. I will put a link to it below. I did put a minimum of 50 cents since this is a fundraiser, but it is a pay as you want. I'm in Minnesota, and if you've been paying attention to the news, we've been in it quite a bit lately, and I wish it was for happier reasons. So I do not live in the Twin Cities, but I live in a big town, big city, well, relatively big city in central Minnesota. I believe I've mentioned it before. If you've been watching, a lot of things have been happening. The thing that really kicked everything off, I mean, people here were already resisting. In my town, there is every Saturday from like 11 to 1, there are protests against the current administration. There was a call for a general strike on Friday. Many businesses in the state closed in support, trying to get ICE out of Minnesota because they are violating the Fourth Amendment. They are attacking citizens. They are going door to door without warrants, demanding people let them into their homes, which is what violates the Fourth Amendment, unreasonable search and seizure. They have now killed 2 Minnesotans that we know of for sure. They have been taking people leaving their cars on the road. There has been a time where they shot 2 people and left them with no medical attention. Somebody found them before they died. But these are not legitimate law enforcement. Legitimate law enforcement does not cover their face. They don't wear SWAT gear. They are not licensed and trained police officers, but they're wearing police officer vests. If anybody else did that, they would be arrested for impersonating a police officer. They are putting tear gas in residential neighborhoods, even when nobody's on the street. Tear gas with chemicals in it that are forbidden by the Geneva Convention, but they're using them on American citizens. Tear gas that has chemicals in it that is known to abort babies, and doing it in residential neighborhoods where families live. You've heard of Renee Good. You've heard of Liam, that poor little baby. Friday, was the general strike. I wasn't going to be able to participate because I had to go to work. And then nature intervened, and it was negative 22 with a negative 42 degree wind chill, so they canceled school. I canceled night school and all the nighttime activities because it was getting too cold even on Thursday night. But there were tons of protests, thousands of people who had good gear. I don't have proper winter gear. Really good winter gear to deal with those temperatures is really expensive, and I don't got it. And it's not worth it most of the time because I don't do outdoor sports in the winter. There was a big protest at Minneapolis Airport because trying to get the airlines who were cooperating with ICE and sending these people to detention centers down in Texas to stop cooperating. They arrested over 100 different spiritual leaders of all faiths just for protesting. And then yesterday, at the big protest, they murdered another American citizen who was just protesting. He stepped in between them and some women that they were getting very verbally aggressive with, didn't attack him, just stood in their way. They grabbed him, threw him to the ground, held him down, and he was an RN. He worked with veterans. He worked in the emergency room. He was a licensed gun carrier and happened to have his gun on him. He never touched it. They threw him to the ground, had his hands pinned behind his back in his winter gear. 4 people laying on top of him, and they brutally murdered him in the street at close range. He didn't attack them. Renee Good didn't attack them. Little Liam didn't attack him. He was just going to preschool. Renee Good's son's school had to shut down because they were getting death threats and such from supporters of the current administration. They had nothing to do with it. People are having to stand in their neighborhoods to protect their neighbors who do not have European skin tones. There are parents who are having to stand on the corner and neighborhood members who are having to stand on the corner so kids can walk into school without fear of being grabbed. They grabbed a 19-year-old girl in Wilmer, which is a small town. The police can't stop them. They're bugging off-duty police officers of color. They outnumber our police forces. So even if our police wanted to arrest them, they can't. We are not getting a lot of what is happening in Minneapolis and St. Paul, but ICE is here. ICE is here. We have had 11 men of East African descent taken in my town that I know of. I have a student who has a family member whose both legs were broken by ICE. I had a student who came to school late last week because ICE was in his neighborhood and they couldn't get past the car blockades. There are 2 high schools in my town, or my city. At my high school, where I teach, there are 80 kids not coming to school because their parents are afraid to let them out of the house. They're afraid to go grocery shopping. They're afraid to go to their own jobs. At the other high school, it's 116 families, 116 kids who aren't coming to school at the high school level, and they probably have siblings. So they're trapped in their houses or their apartments. Their parents are afraid to go to work. I have a coworker who's in the National Guard, and they are being called up. The Minnesota National Guard is officially being deployed now to help with the situation here, to protect our citizens from agents of the federal government who have been given blanket immunity to do whatever the hell they want. I have a coworker, born and raised here in America, one of the nicest people I've ever met, very compassionate, very well-thinking, creative thinker. He has to carry his papers with him to work. And he's actually started carrying photocopies, because if you have your real papers on you, they will rip them up right in front of you, your passport, your social security card. They will just rip them up and take you anyway. So he has photocopies now. He is the teacher that, when the end of the school day is gone, he stays for hours on end and preps for the next day or the next unit. He is now leaving when the rest of us do, because he is afraid to leave by himself because of what might happen if he's alone in the parking lot if ICE comes by. He's native to this country. He's not a foreigner. He just has darker skin. He happens to be of Latino descent. They took siege of a Somali-owned shopping center here a couple of weeks ago. Around the time Renee Good was killed, murdered. My husband is very supportive of protesting and everything. He went with me to the last one. We don't have the leather gear. We'd be going still. Plus, I work 2 jobs and I'm taking 2 classes. And I don't have the time or the funds to do some of the things that I would like to do. I've been feeling hopeless and helpless. Scared, angry. But I can make a cross-stitch pattern. I can put that up on Ko-fi. I can ask Coffee. I can ask you guys to help. Mad Morty asked me how y'all can help. There are so many families that are hiding. They can't pay their rent. They can't go to the grocery store. There are several organizations in my town that are helping people locally. There are organizations helping people in the Twin Cities. And I know that's where everybody's focus is. So I'm going to try to work with the organizations in my town and take them some money to help these families out. And the only way I know how to do that is asking you guys if you could donate a bit. The pattern is like 135 by 130. I couldn't make it smaller and still make it look good. And if you want to unfollow me because you're on the other end and you support ICE, go for it. So long. And I want to thank Mad Morty and Carrie of DNA Gatecrest for checking on me earlier this week. There are only 3 colors in my pattern. I know I'm a bit scatterbrained, but I really am struggling to grade papers and stuff and do my homework, and it's just a lot's going on here. So there are 3 organizations helping people out locally. It's Fe y Justica. I have no idea if I said that right. Fahan .org and Cairo, which is Center for African Immigrants and Refugees. And if you do not know, Minnesota is the home to the largest number of Somali refugees. I don't know why they're here. We have less than 1% of illegal immigrants or undocumented workers there's a much higher concentration in Texas and Florida, but they're not here because of immigration. They're here because Minnesota has voted Democrat for 70 years. They're here because they've been embarrassed by Walz in his handling of COVID, because he called the president weird, because he stood up and refused to cave to the extortion. So I'm going to reach out to these organizations. I belong to Central Minnesota Women's Organization. I can also take the donations just to our DFL office. They are also helping coordinate stuff with families. My goal is to get some cash so that I can just take the cash and they can get what these families need. I do not have a huge network in the community, and that's okay. Everybody's got their own taste in stitching and floss tubes, but I did reach out to Kaylee Tent Stitch because I know she's organized a lot of these or spread the words about a lot of fundraisers for different causes. And I was so excited when she said yes, she would help spread the word. And Morty has also said she would help spread the word. But Kaylee's Tent Stitch surprised me with her generosity. She offered to make 5 bags to give away to people who donate to my Ko-fi, or buy the pattern, I should say, my coffee. So many people say it both ways, and it's like, I know it's coffee because it's buy coffee, but 5 bags. So if you purchase the pattern on coffee, which I will put a link to below, I will also put links to those 3 organizations, including a direct donation page that I get from my women's group, so that if you want to donate to them directly as well. And actually, I want to expand the giveaway. So if you buy my pattern, or if you send me the receipt that you donated to one of those organizations, I will enter you to win one of the 5 Kaylee Tent Stitch bags. There's this Leia fabric that I've been eyeing at Michael's for a long time, and I wanted to get some and make a project bag of my own and maybe make one for somebody as well. But with my car repairs that have come up recently, that is not an option. So that is the giveaway. I will post a link to my coffee below. I do want to mention one other thing that happened yesterday. So Pam Bondi sent a message to our government that says, "We will remove ICE from your state when you turn over your voter registration rolls." So this is extortion, and they want the private data of the people who voted against the current administration to do who knows what with. Things in Minnesota are not okay, folks. And just remember, if we give up, if Minnesota gives up, if this stuff is allowed to stand here in Minnesota, they'll just spread it across the entire country. So be wary, be aware. Think about whether you would want these things happening in your neighborhood. And please, act with kindness and compassion. Put yourself in the shoes of these people and think, what would Jesus do? What would Dolly Parton do? Think about the people who act Christ-like. What would Mr. Rogers do? Kindness and compassion, not terror, is where we need to be heading. I tried to make notes, and I couldn't think straight enough to make them. And I know it's all over the place, but please, donate to one of the links. Send me a receipt. Buy my pattern on coffee. I have a 50-cent minimum set, but it is a pay-as-you-want other than that. Since it is to help families who can't leave their homes for fear of being disappeared. They've taken Native Americans and they've put them back in Fort Snelling just like they did when we were trying to wipe out the Native Americans. There are so many civil rights violations going on here. I know you guys can't help from far away. You can't be here, But please, if you can, just a little donation. Help these families. And for those of you from all over the world who have given support to Minnesota, thank you. Thank you. Please stay safe, everybody. Take care of the people you love. So long, and thanks for all the stitch.